This slide deck is about parallel lines and angles and what I'm calling the parallel set. We're going to start by discussing a transversal. The definition of transversal is when one line crosses two or more other lines. It's called a transversal. Transversals of parallel lines have special properties. So here's a little illustration of transversal. You notice that the light green line is traversing the two yellow lines. So that's called a transversal. The definition of parallel lines. Parallel lines are lines that lie on the same plane, it's like a flat piece of paper, and never intersect. So it's like you can't bend the paper, it has to be flat on a desk. If you have a piece of paper flat on a desk, that's a plane. If you bend the piece of paper, it's no longer a plane. You notice that these indicated lines are parallel, and they have to lie in the same plane, same flat surface, and they can never intersect. In a diagram, parallel lines are indicated by arrows in each of the parallel lines. You'll see the two little arrowheads on the two lines. That indicates that these two lines are parallel and never intersect. If you see this on a test, you'll know that if you see those little arrows, it could be a double set of arrows. That means those lines are considered to be parallel. They never intersect. So what I'm going to call parallel set, I'm going to describe this. You have a transversal across line 3 is a transversal across lines in line 1 and line 2. And there's a set of congruent angles that we're going to talk about. So if you look at these colored angles here, all the blue ones are congruent. They have the same angle measure. All the purple ones are congruent. They have the same angle measure. I'm not saying the blue and purple match. I'm saying the blue matches the blue, the purple matches the purple. If you have a set of parallel lines, all the indicated blue angles will be congruent, and all the indicated purple angles will be congruent. Now, if you have a set of intersecting lines, you always have congruency on opposite angles. Those are called vertical angles. Vertical angles are always congruent. They have the same angle measure. So if you have straight lines that intersect in a plane, they always create a set of congruent angles that are opposite from each other. That's different from a set of parallel lines where we're saying that the angles on two different intersections are congruent. Here, only one intersection is congruent across the intersection because of vertical angles. But in this case, that goes between two different intersections. And this is something that's also worth noting, that this is all or nothing. Either all of the blue angles are congruent and all the purple angles are congruent, or only the ones that are opposite each other from the intersection are congruent. So in this example here, we're saying that the yellow matches the yellow, the peach matches the peach, the purple matches the purple, and the blue matches the blue. Those are all because of vertical angles of intersecting lines. What we're saying here is that the blue does not match the peach, and the yellow does, or yellowish orange does not match the purple. In this case, the lines 1 and lines 2 cannot be parallel. It's either all and they're parallel, or nothing and they're not parallel. There's no in between. Now here's some examples. There's a linear pair where you have two angles that are next to each other. It's called adjacent angles. And adjacent angles, if they form a straight line, are called a linear pair. So the definition is it forms a straight line and the angle sum is 180 degrees. Those are both going to happen at the same time. Now here's some examples of test problems you could see where you're dealing with parallel lines here. See, notice the indicated arrowheads. I said make those lines, line 1 and line 2 are parallel. And recall that all the blue ones are congruent and all the purple ones are congruent. And that means that the blue and the purple together have to match to be a straight line or 180 degrees. So we could solve the value of x here by setting the sum of 110 plus 4x plus 30 is equal to 180 degrees. Then all you do is just move the numbers around. The 110 plus 100 plus 30 is going to be 140. You add that to 4x and you get 180. Then you subtract off 140 both sides, leaving with 4x is equal to 180 minus 140, which is also known as 40. Just solving that for x, you get 4x equals 40, and then x equals 10. Another example here, again, we have parallel lines because they have the indicated arrowheads. So that means that the two blue angles are congruent, same measure. And that means that 55 has to be equal to 5x plus 25. Solving that for x, you just set them equal to each other. Then you subtract off 25 from both sides, you're going to get 5x is equal to 30, and that means x has to be equal to 6. The last one here, we just have a linear pair here. You have 70 plus 4x plus 30 equals 180. You would just solve this for x. That's on the homework, or that's on the Google form you guys can work on. Anyway, that's it for today. Good luck.